So these are tips that don't really require, I guess, changing anything specifically. So no special diet, no special exercise program. All right, today I wanted to share with you my everyday tips that I use that I've implemented, I would say since I was 40, I'm now 46, how to maintain a healthy weight without exercising, eating whatever I want, and after having 4 children. So you may be like me, just a regular American who works a lot, has a family. I eat anything. Having 4 kids, yep, I do have to visit the hamburger and french fry shops a lot, and I love those. Pizza, all those things. I do have desserts almost every single day. So I do want to have all of the things, but really learning a few key tips has really helped me along the way. Hi there and welcome to my channel. I'm Liz and I am not a doctor, not a nutritionist, not a exercise professional, none of the things, just a regular 40-something-year-old lady who has learned how to maintain her weight while still living normally, I would say. I know it's different for everybody, but I really just wanted to share in case this helps anyone else, because I feel like these are things I didn't know in my 30s. And I could have had a lot nicer time with my weight in my 30s if I knew these things. I did have my last child at 32. So I do have 4 kids. I lost all that weight and then gained weight. So my weight gain was not due to having children. And I never really exercised any kind of regular amount. So it wasn't from quitting or starting or changing exercise habits. And I mostly have always eaten the same. So what changed was obviously me getting older, and probably I think I could afford to eat a lot more. And so I did. I was probably eating out more, getting things that I liked at will. And I still like to do that, but I have learned how to balance it. So these are tips that don't really require, I guess, changing anything specifically. So no special diet, no special exercise program. Those are great for other health reasons. I'm not going to say exercising isn't good. I think it's good for your health. It's good for your brain, your body, your lungs, your heart, your muscles, like lots of things. But I don't think that exercising is good for weight loss. So I learned to watch, I guess, how or what I was consuming on a day-to-day basis. And I would say implementing these tips consistently over time is what has helped me to maintain a weight. So in my 30s, I learned about keto. And I did try keto for 6 months. And I did like it. I actually lost the most weight. I think I lost 40 pounds when I started keto, dropped it pretty quickly. So it does work for that, but I learned that it wasn't a diet I could implement long term. So I don't have anything against it. I just missed, like burritos and chocolate cake, the real kind. And so I realized that that wasn't for me. And so after the initial weight loss, I, went back to normal eating and of course gained weight, not as much because I had learned some of the keys from that I still carry with me today. And so I would say that without paying attention and just cutting a couple things regularly, I was still swinging about 20 pounds up, which was too much. Nowadays, I will swing usually about 5 pounds, sometimes 10, but all of that is normal. Once I start getting to 15, 20 pounds, that is too far for me. And so then I really need to watch what I'm doing. So these are the tips that I utilize, that I make sure I'm mindful on regularly, or reassess, am I doing these often enough to keep my weight in check? Number 1 is going to be chewing gum. So I started chewing gum a lot more often, usually when I'm working, at the computer, which is where I spend most of my hours. Also, maybe when watching a movie or driving. I think that keeps you from snacking. And so instead of, grabbing some cookies, chips, popcorn, chewing gum is definitely going to cut out some calories, but also keep your mouth busy. That's something that has really helped me. And I also think that it strengthens your jawline. I don't know about that. That's just my own personal opinion. Let me know what you think. The second thing that I'm paying attention to is portion control. So I do eat out a lot. I do have a lot of women in my family who cook amazing, delicious, humongous meals that I love, and I love food. So learning to listen to your body and take an amount that your body only wants for that day. So really not overeating is key. And I would say listen to your body day to day, week to week, day to day, because maybe you go to your favorite, restaurant, and maybe last week you could eat that burrito, the whole thing, but today you can only eat half. And that's okay. Like, listen to your body. Don't eat something just because you usually do. You really need to be mindful. Like, am I full? Have I had enough? And don't be afraid to take leftovers, and don't be afraid to say no. No one else knows how much you need that day, and really setting those boundaries is super important. Tip number 3 was being mindful of carbs and sugar. Now, I love carbs and sugar, but manufacturers are sneaky. They put them in so many things. And before I was on keto, I didn't realize like everywhere they would put it in things that you wouldn't assume they were there, like pasta sauces, ketchup, of course, all the normal things that they're in, but even the amounts. So I really learned to read labels when I was on keto, and that's something that I still carry with me is I do check those things. It's not that I don't want any of them, but I want to know where I'm having them and where I can avoid them. That doesn't really make a difference in my life. And I found, getting it out of like your ketchup is easy. Getting it out of the pasta sauce is easy. Like, you don't even need it in there. And another thing, not adding any kind of anything really to my coffee. I just drink my coffee black. I have black coffee every morning, an organic one that I really love. I've been drinking it over 5 years and it tastes great. I think finding a coffee flavor that you love is key. Then you don't need to add all those syrups, powders, whatnot to your coffee. I think having it just black is a good habit to get into. So being able to cut those out without making an impact, on how you are consuming them anyway is really key. The next tip, which is a newer one for me that I have learned and had this is actually a whole subject probably I could do a video on, but that is fixing your sleep. So fixing your sleep has an effect on so many things I'm learning in my 40s. But really, when you're tired, you're not going to meal plan. You're not going to plan what you're going to have. You don't care, really what you eat. You're not thinking about it as clearly. You kind of just eat whatever's near you and kind of mindlessly and at greater amounts. So fixing your sleep is really key for so many things. I think especially as we age, very, very important. So that could be maybe getting blackout curtains for your windows if there's a lot of light. Temperature control is really important as well. I know a lot of people push a cold room, but I actually don't like a cold room. My face is cold, my feet are cold. I actually do not sleep well. I don't like it hot either, but I think just finding a good temperature for you is key. Another huge thing was noise. So I didn't realize how often I was waking up throughout the night due to noises in my environment. I actually tried out an app for free and I was like, oh, I'm just going to see, how often I'm waking up. And I thought, 2 times a night. It was like 9 to 12 times a night. And I didn't actually know. I think that when you are, when it's night, you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm kind of tired. I woke up a couple times, but you don't really remember how often. So that is really important to kind of minimize those sounds. So that set me on a rabbit hole of trying out different noise cancellation. So I will link the one that I ultimately found to be the winner, but I tried different earbuds, different headphones, and finally found a pair that doesn't muffle the sound, but actually you can't hear anything and works really well. And then with that was learning to sleep on my back. So I initially started sleeping on my back due to vanity reasons. I was getting the creases in my chest. And so I was like, that's it. I'm going to teach myself to sleep on my back. And that brought a whole other host of positive impact to my daily life. Sleeping on my back, I could breathe better. I didn't wake up with puffy bags ever because I actually sleep on a slight incline on a wedge pillow. I didn't wake up with shoulder pain or weird neck crooks, which never happened to me in my 20s. This only happened as you age, as you know. I'm sure we've all seen a child like curled up all weird on a couch or in the car, and they wake up perfectly fine. But when you get older, you can't sleep in those weird positions without some pain after. So I think a proper sleeping position really is key to getting a good night's sleep as well. Another huge thing that really helped me was learning to fast, or learning that it was okay to fast, because we all actually do fast. And it sounds scary, it sounds stressful, like you're gonna force me to not eat for 12 hours, but you're kind of already fasting whatever time you sleep, so 6 to 8 hours. It could be as easy as just skipping breakfast or pushing it back until 11. I love breakfast, but I will sometimes not eat breakfast until like 11 or 12 instead. And I really listen to my body. If I'm hungry, or, if I'm making a huge breakfast for my kids, I will absolutely have it with them. So all of these rules are not rigid everyday things. I would say if you do them most of the time, they do add up over time. And I have just found living like this really it's been transformative in being able to manage my weight. So it really stays within a kind of 5-pound window for me, which I really enjoy because I like to have everything still, but also want to not let my weight get out of hand. And the last thing I think, which is probably the hardest, but really is minimizing stress. I actually think stress, which we all have, everybody has it, everybody, but really finding ways to kind of mitigate it or relieve it anytime that you can is really key, because I think it's actually pretty toxic and can lead to a whole bunch of other issues. So try to do things that make you happy, that take your mind off of the issue. Try not to focus so much on negative things. Practicing being grateful for everything that you do have, I think, is really key. I think that's something that a lot of us forget to do. I think that we all think we're grateful. We're all, happy for, our health, our limbs, our family, whatever you are grateful for. But really thinking about it and thinking how wonderful it is to have these things in your life, just even simple things like a nice sunny day, a great weather day, a job that supports you and your family, your house that you've been in for, quite a while, just any little thing, finding joy in them. I think when you refocus from the stresses of your life and more focus on the positive things, that is probably the best way I have found to relieve stress, is focus on the good and not on the bad. All right, I hope that you enjoyed this list. I hope that you found it helpful. If you need me to expand on anything, or if you have some tips, tricks, comments, leave those down below. I'm open-minded to, consider anything, and your comments may help others as well down below. I wanted to thank you so much for dropping in and spending some of your time with me. I hope that you have a really great day, and I hope to see you in the next one.